get it a bit more personal, I've been asked to share my own journey, and it was interesting the way this was structured. And I'm sure many of us are familiar with notes to my younger self. So it's almost like you can go back in time and look at yourself, maybe when you were starting out, and then write a note to that person, telling them things that you know now that they didn't know them, but the real truth is that you really can't tell them everything, but with the gift of hindsight, you can, that person with the tips that you are giving him today will somehow be able to navigate their way better. I was told that I should say a little bit about myself. Normally I'm reticent talking about myself, rather you go and read up on your own, but I've been told by the younger people, and I have 3 daughters in their 20s, and I've got to share a little bit so I can connect. So allow me, if I don't like to talk about myself. My early years, I grew up in Lagos, real Lagos boy. Nursery, primary, secondary, university for first, university second, Lagos. NYC, I really wanted to come to Port Harcourt. Somehow the first time they sent me to Sokoto, I was used to the north because I was also a railway child. I traveled Nigeria by rail. But then somehow the postings were redone and I was sent to Ondo State. I thought to myself, boring, Southwest guy going to Ondo, but that's what happened. I worked with government 1 year and I knew that it was enough. It was not meant for me. I've not gone back to government work since then. Went back to Lagos. My first 2 jobs were with startups. One was with what many of you in the room will not know. You probably say, what in God's name is that? It was a Yellow Pages company. Vanguard Yellow Pages. Before there was Google, there were Yellow Pages. We'll talk a little bit about that later. The second one was a startup advertising, PR and marketing firm, which is defunct now. And then I got into the oil and gas sector, where I worked in different roles, home and abroad, for 24 years, before I now went into the development sector, where I've been in the last 6 years, working to reduce poverty and conflict within the Niger Delta. PIND has been around for 12 years now, and I've spent half of that time with that organization, and last year I became the head of the organization, and we'll continue with the vision that was put there. I've been fortunate to have worked in Lagos, Abuja, Warri. I know all the nooks and crannies of the Niger Delta. I've spent time in Port Harcourt, everywhere in the Niger Delta. I'm at home with the governors as well as I'm at home with militants, bunkers, and whoever. Mention them. Even me, I'm a senior militant. My background is in journalism, communications, PR, HR, diversity, strategy, tired job, and then development work. I have been an individual contributor, I've been a supervisor, I've been a manager of managers, different dynamics. And I share all of this because some of you, and I sat at my table there, I have an undergrad there, I have somebody who's an intern, and I have those who are working and who are broken out, so that we shared all of this because you hear more of this from your mentors so you can relate. Because too often young people look at us today where we are frozen, but you don't know the story. You're only seeing the tip of the iceberg, you don't know what's down there. You don't know how many days I spent using canoes to travel in the creeks of the Niger Delta. You just see nice jacket, nice cut, and you think it's all that. No sir, some of us, we've paid our dues. When my team members have been kidnapped or have negotiated hostage releases, those are part of it. But just saying that to set the tone, so please pay attention as I share a little bit, and I'll try to be respectful of time and not take too long and leave the meat of it for maybe the Q&A and the discussions at the table. But I'll try and dwell a little bit more, because if you're not at my table, I'll be shortchanging you if I leave all the gist to be at that. In writing to my younger self, my younger professional self, I've looked at certain timelines in my past. First phase, when I just finished NYSC and I didn't know what lay ahead. Second one, the early work years. Third one, when I was 5 years down, still an early career employee. The fourth point will be about the time that I had my break from what I was doing and I went into Chevron. The fifth one was when I was approaching middle career, and you can become complacent if you're not careful, and what you need to do to be on the cutting edge or reinvent yourself. And the sixth one will be looking at ensuring that you advance even further, and you need to stay on that cutting edge. So the format will be like I'm actually reading a note to my younger self. So I'm writing and I'm reading the note along. I've been told a little drama doesn't hurt, so please bear with me. Dear younger self, so you just finished NYSC. You are not sure how to go. You are confused, you're uncertain, desperate, and maybe even afraid over the choices of a career path, over what success looks like. There are different pathways before you. I'd like to tell you one thing. It's okay not to know. It's okay not to know. You won't figure everything out yet. You're considering law, which you couldn't do as your first degree. But on the other hand, you're looking at the number of years you're going to have to devote to that, and so you're looking at masters in communication instead. You are thinking about earning income. You still have that dream of going abroad for your masters. It's okay not to know. Just take it one day at a time. The opportunity that comes before you, the door that opens, take that one. To my younger self, 3 to 5 years down the line, you've gotten your first job, post NYSC. It's a startup. You're dealing with yellow pages that lists business entities. You're commuting from comfortable Surulere to not so nice Kirikiri. You pass the maximum and medium prison every day, and you're wondering, what am I doing here? I'd like to tell you, you must sacrifice. Sacrifice on the commute. Sacrifice even as you are juggling work and school, full-time work, full-time school and work at the same time. Because of school, you've refused to go on tours to market the yellow pages. I'd like to tell you to seize the moment. Sacrifice. It will work out. It is those work tours that will afford you, like your colleagues, to know the back streets of Nigeria, flying into Jos and traveling by road from Jos to Makodi, Makodi to Bauchi, Bauchi to Damaturu, Damaturu to Yola, Yola to Maiduguri before flying back to Lagos. Third attempt, I'll talk to my younger self, having advanced in the workplace. Change jobs. Now you're on your second job. I will challenge you to learn to dream. Have a vision for what your life will look like. You've experienced the workplace for a while now. You understand how people have visions to start businesses and how they run things. So you too start to dream. But don't just have a vision, have a plan to bring it to fruition. As you settle into your career after a few years, dream. Think about where you hope to be. Another year from now, 5 years from now, 25 years from now, what would your career progression look like? What pathway would you like to take? It's okay to dream, but you need to have a plan to make that dream come to fruition. You know you have 3 other siblings who are into journalism and communications, and you're saying to yourself, you don't want to be on that side. You want to be on the corporate side. You rather practice PR. So have a plan so that when that opportunity comes, you will seize the moment. You have to seize those moments. It's that trip to those back states in the north that will open other doors for you. So when that opportunity for Chevron comes, and I notice that you eventually will take it, that you can see, I can see you in the future doing great things there. As you plan, ask questions. Reach out to those who are more experienced than you, those who have gone down the path ahead of you. Listen at their feet, gain insights. All of this will pay you off. The next timeline is when my younger self had made it into Chevron, doing well, and you want to really succeed, but it's not sure how to go ahead. Dear younger self, congratulations, you made it. Out of 100 of you, and 13 of you that went for the interview, you made it as a successful one. You really want to succeed? My advice to you is grow your social capital. Have an effective network of persons. Most of the things you'll do in life will be based on the people that you know, your peers, those who are above you, those who may be below you status-wise. Have everyone in your circle of influence. I'm not a prophet, but I see ahead of you that there is a job opening that you're not even aware of. But it's because you visited someone that you became aware of it, and this person will be giving you tips as to approach the job owner and the hiring manager and how to make an impression even ahead of the interview. And from there you get to go to the US, because there's another opening coming after that. But had you not invested in visiting that person and having that person in your corner, you will have remained ignorant of the opportunity and how to approach it. But invest in your social capital. Don't just think about what you are getting. Think about what you are putting, what you are giving to others. Maintain, remember birthdays. Remember milestones. Send a word, check in on people. Put that smartphone to good use. Use the calendar feature and remind us to schedule things so that you can just check it. You never know how far it will go to make that person really, really feel good that you remember them at specific milestones. To my younger professional self, as you advance in your career and you're now what is called a mid-career employee with 10 or more years of experience, let me challenge you that it's very easy to get into a rut and just be coasting along. So my advice to you, track your progress. How well are you doing? Remember the vision you had? Remember the plan you made? How well is the plan working? Are you tracking every year, every 3 years, every quarter to see your progress? How are you doing with the milestones? How are you doing with your success metrics? How many of them did you meet at the end of the year? You know, it's what gets measured that gets done. If you don't have milestones, targets, you define your success anyhow. But be looking, be checking. Are your goals diverse? Career goals, work goals, personal development goals, spiritual goals, financial goals, relationship goals. How are you doing? I challenge you to start with annual goals and then start thinking in 3-year cycles. You will be better off for it. As you go along, be flexible. There may be times, and I know you're returning from the US, where you think, oh, you can't work anywhere else except in Lagos. But then a good opportunity comes along in Warri. Are you going to be rigid? Be flexible. It might open up a new world for you. Just make adjustments on the home front and things will be fine. Also, after Warri, they also say you should go to Abuja again. You have enough support structure. The family will be fine. But remember, good opportunities are not to be missed. Adjust yourself. It will turn out okay. To my younger self, I'll tell you again, even as you advance in years and you're now an experienced employee, you've put in 2 decades plus, Keep learning. Never, ever stop learning. Subscribe to newsletters. Go to courses if you can afford to. Be part of blogs. Be in useful chat groups. Not the one where you are farming over things that don't count, but where from the contributions of others, you can be in tune with what is going on around you. Spend time with people who are different from you. Those who are younger, you will learn from them. Be mentored and mentor others, because in mentoring others, you are also learning yourself. Listen more than you talk. You don't need to have an opinion over every issue, but listen. Finally, as you progress, my younger professional self, you are going to be tested. In trying to succeed, there will be opportunities where your values are going to be challenged. I'm going to give you this tip that you should hold on to all the time. Don't ever trade off your values. Don't ever trade off your values. Daddy used to say, remember whose child you are. He will also say, a good name is better than silver and gold. So don't ever do anything that will spoil your name or that will mar your relationship with your Creator. Others may look like they're getting ahead, cutting corners and doing things that are unscrupulous. But you pay the price, uphold your integrity. You will be able to sleep better, and whatever you attain will be well worth it at the end of time. Dear younger self, your future is bright, but you have to pay the price. So keep to the plan. Stay the course. You'll be fine at the end of it all. Signed, your older self.
And straight to the point. Good day, everyone. My name is Amadi Kelechi. Sir, you've shared your success story, but I just want to know, over your years of experience as a young professional, up to now that you are experienced, what were the failures you encountered in life? Because I didn't get to picture most of the failures you had in life. So as much as I have your success stories, I want to know the failures you encountered. Thank you.
Thank you. One that is most instructive probably happened in the last 10 years. I took on a role where things had really gone down in that location, and it's often been my lot to be sent in roles that will involve repairing stuff or charting uncharted waters, pioneer roles. In this particular one, things had gone bad, so it was like bring back the standards and all of that. But somehow I was not briefed enough about the extent of the rot. I've been out of the country for 5 years. If I was in, I would have been plucked into the grapevine. But I'd been out. I knew things were a little bit untidy in the function, but I didn't know how bad. And it was the years post the Niger Delta conflict. So a lot of things that happened during the conflict had changed the dynamics even within the organization from how I knew it before I went away from. I'd left the function and left the country. So I was now returning to an old function, having been in a different function. And I did not understand the enormity of the challenges. Number one, some of those that I was supervising had aspired for my position. And I'd done my best to try and make them find. So people are testing their loyalty. Oh, it's God that appoints. We have no problem. After all, we knew you before you left. You were ahead of us anyway, so it's only okay. But these were the snakes that were dealing with me the most. The other thing was I did not understand how much people held on to power, that when you come back and you make the process work, it actually meant you were taking power and influence away from them. And it got to the point where things were really ugly. and my personal well-being was threatened, but I wasn't worried. And you were framed, you were defamed, even by those who were higher than you, and while you were doing everything good. You will discuss with someone, both of you are waiting for 4 o'clock, so you do a joint reporting, but you find out that after your 9 o'clock meeting, some memo had gone that you were oblivious of, but by the time it's coming back from the top back to you and you see what's written, you say, what's going on here? So that taught me a few things, because it was really adversarial, but at the same time, you were having a situation where the economic condition of the nation was terrible, and a lot of sabotage in the oil and gas industry was going on. So you had to really go out and reach out for bunkers and those who were doing all kinds of things. So you were taking heat outside, taking heat inside. It was so bad, and I was using a BlackBerry phone then, that I had 2 backup batteries. That was how hot my line was. I couldn't talk with you like I've done in the last 20 minutes now without the phone ringing like crazy. In fact, my wife said at a point, I don't have a husband again. It was high octane, it was high intrigue, and it was tough. And unfortunately for me, I was casting vision, American style, with my team, and some of my team members were sharing the things, and the message was distorted to the other stakeholders. And before you know it, you're being attacked. So one of the things you learn is to keep some of your plans to your chest sometimes until there's a need to know basis. But it's tough when it's your team that's going to deliver, because you are not the one who's going to be there. If you're a real good manager, you can't be everywhere, you have to delegate. But you have to now learn to use the element of surprise when you are in an adversarial condition situation. Another one was, we'll call meetings, me, I'll keep to time, and do a few things until somebody said, around here, if you are humble, you are seen as weak. And I was disregarded by one small community leader until we had to show him where the power was. So those were some of the things that happened. They were more interpersonal, and because you are trying to be clued in, and it cost me. Some people will say it cost me my career progression because of the battles that I fought. But I sleep at night because my integrity is intact, while some of the other people at the end of the day were flushed out. So that's probably the most. I hope it answers you. Thank you.
Compromising your values. What if in a scenario whereby you are working with people, you have to shift a little to actually work with them in that environment? Won't your value be affected? Won't you have to change something you are so that you guys can work together? What are you going to do in that scenario?
All right. I hope you are not mixing up style changes with values. You can flex style. When I'm in the creeks, how I talk to people there is different from when I'm in the city talking to you guys. When I'm talking to someone in the villa, it's different from when I'm having a meeting with the community. You can flex styles. How we want to do things can differ. We must be flexible. But when I'm talking about values, I'm talking about you cannot betray trust. You cannot compromise your integrity in the name of, I can't do it. I can't go and do certain things and falsify documents because I need to work with someone. Number one, for the most time, I work with an organization where if you are found is the CEO that will be held accountable, and before he is held accountable, he will hold you. Number two, it is having such good records that affords people to work with us in PIN and know that when you say you did this, you do that. So I will challenge you, it's not worth it. Don't feel you are ever under pressure that you must compromise your integrity. Integrity is a value, it should not change. Trust, if somebody says this is in trust, they must know that they can trust you. Otherwise, if you betray the trust, you're not going to get another opportunity in that regard. But if it's about, do we put tire first before we do the wheel or something, that's flexibility around style, but not about values. Methods can change, but your values should not change. I hope we're on the same page.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Adenuga.
Please, a round of applause once more for